Hey there, YouTube. This is Travis Dunn with My Dunn Life, and this is my blog. Um, Decided I'm going to do these probably every Saturday morning on my way home from work. Um, I unofficially did one last week. Didn't like the way it sounded, so I'm doing something a little different. I actually have a microphone, doing a separate recording. We're going to see how that turns out, audio-wise. And hopefully we'll continue these and just to get things started. Like I said, my name is Travis Dunn, 34 years old. I have 2 kids, 2 dogs, 2 cats, 2 cars, and a house. I live in Ohio. I won't say exactly where. I work for a trucking company, and again, I won't say exactly where, just for different reasons. And it's been a busy week. The weather has sucked, and for anybody in the southern part of Ohio down and east just pretty much knows exactly how I feel. I am pretty well sick of this weather. I apologize. I got the sun in my face this morning. It's Saturday, March 7th. In the last week, we lost, well, last Friday, we lost Leonard Nimoy, well known for playing Spock. Wasn't the only thing he did. He was a writer, a director, did many voiceovers for TV, and I think he even did some audiobooks, things of that nature. All around great actor. Died at the age of 83. Certainly, if you don't know him by his real name, you probably know him by his face. And apparently he passed away from COPD, which had apparently been brought on from years of smoking, which I do believe he had quit later in his life. And it's always sad to see such an icon, such a good man to pass away. And he even still signed all his tweets and messages as, live long and prosper. And I think Leonard Nimoy did that. I mean, he definitely influenced a lot of people, and he'll be surely missed. Other than that, like I said, it's been a busy week. We've seen the new Galaxy phone with its uniquely curved screen. It kind of does this weird, almost half wrap around. So when you lay the phone face down, you can actually see a little bit of the edge. I'll give it credit for being something interesting, but even reviewers have said spec-wise, it's not that much different from the previous generation. And we haven't seen pricing quite yet. We expect that this particular phone versus its other version, which is the flat one with identical specs, is probably going to be a huge price difference between that and the curved screen. I think it looks cool, but I think looks is not enough for me to spend extra money on. We also seen a slew of Steam machines come out, and it was announced this week. And while I'm not against the Steam machine, I don't necessarily. I was really kind of hoping that Valve would get with a company and really develop something specific for them. But in the end, they kind of let a bunch of manufacturers build Steam machines. And it's not necessarily that they're going to build bad machines. They're not cheap. Many of them are just ridiculously overpriced. I think the cheapest one starts around $500 or $500 or $600, and Falcon, I think, does somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000 Steam machine, and all they are is small form factor gaming machines. And some of them, like I said, have really nice specs. Some of them, especially in the graphics department, do not have very good specs. Most of them seem to have Core i3, i5, or i7s. Most of them have some form. I've seen a few of them with like a 750 Ti, which for an entry-level gaming machine is not a bad chip. A lot of them have the 960 or 970, I think it was 970M. Again, good chip, solid performance there. You know, maybe not necessarily, you know, play every game, Crisis or whatever on Ultra, but still solid enough to play at 1080p with most of the settings pretty high. I just, like I said, I can't get past the price. If we were talking $300 to $400 for a higher end one, I would say that would, for somebody that was looking for console-like abilities but PC, both performance and game availability, I think that would be a great thing. But the ones in the lower end just simply do not have very good specs. They might be perfectly fine if you already have a dedicated gaming machine and want to use the streaming service to stream it to your Steam box. But I just can't fathom spending $1,000 to $2,000. I mean, I personally just can't fathom it. That's the kind of money. $1,000 to $2,000 is what I have on my personal custom built, I-built desktop. And here in the near future, I will be doing a video, you know, showing the system, showing the upgrades that I've made recently. And I won't leak the specs just yet until that time comes. But we're into that territory, and you can get a lot of gaming machine, even semi-small form factor, for that kind of money, and more than you're getting with these machines. I will admit some of these machines are very small, but oh my goodness, that is just ridiculous. And the thing is, I want that to work. I think I love PC gaming. I do have consoles. I do not have a PS4. I do have an Xbox One, but I have a PS3. I have an Xbox, several PS3s, several Xbox 360s. I have an original Xbox. I have a GameCube. I have a Wii. And a little bit of adjustment here. Apologize. But you know, PC gaming has always had a spot in my heart. I spend on average every year about $400 to $500 a year on my machine, upgrading something. And you know, it's always been a love for me. Now, I will admit, I'm not an ultra, you know, overclock. I don't buy the top of the line brand new everything when it comes out. But I will admit I have a good solid gaming machine. And as far as 1080p gaming, it does 99% of the games at max settings at a very playable frame rate. And when you're thinking about spending $800 to $1,000 and not getting relatively similar performance at 1080p, like I said, I just can't fathom it. Moving on, we also got to see the new NVIDIA Titan X, based on Maxwell architecture. And you know, it's about I think they said 1 billion more transistors than the previous version of the Titan, which I think was Titan Z. Still has the same amount of memory, which was like 12 gigabytes. They haven't released a complete list of specs yet, or the pricing. And these cards are just ridiculous. And for those that managed that could actually afford to purchase those, or those lucky enough even on YouTube to get those to demo and keep, I am highly jealous. I would love to be one of those people to say, I got a Titan Black from such and such but just don't see that happening anytime soon. Those are great cards, but to me the value of those cards are just not there. And but ultimately some of that technology ends up trickling down to the lesser models, and but those are premium cards. Those are the kind of ones you see on over the top, water cooled, just ridiculous gaming machines, or video processing machines. And like I said, they have their place, but not in my rig. Don't ever expect to have one in my rig. And but it'll be interesting to see what this card classifies as, and as far as the rankings is, how many FPS on a 4K screen, and 4K is here. It's coming. We're gonna, there's no doubt in my mind that 4K gaming will be the next generation of what 1080p was a few years ago. But right now, graphic card wise, we got cards that will play video at 4K, but not really do a lot of gaming at 4K. It takes a ridiculous SLI setup, and even then, I wouldn't call it phenomenal 4K gaming at that rate. Maybe a Titan X or a pair of Titan X's might change that. But I can't wait for 4K. I loved when 1080p came out. I love movies. I love TV. When all that content was available, and I got my first 1080p TV, and ultimately I got my computer monitors up to 1080p, and it was great. It was a great experience compared to previous generation TVs. And 4K is just the next predecessor to that. I think Blu-ray is going to adapt pretty well, especially since we're seeing larger and larger Blu-ray discs coming out. So I think Blu-ray is here to stay. 4K is certainly coming, and it will continue to come. And speaking of space, SanDisk announced a 200 gigabyte micro SD card. That is just ridiculous. It's got to be for some type of video camera of some sort, because 99% of most camera phones and whatnot that have those micro SDs won't read over 32 gigabytes. Some of them will do 64. Most won't do past 32. Excuse me. But it's phenomenal to think how much storage in a card this big, and it's only getting better. SSDs, love them, hate them, are definitely getting cheaper. I just purchased a new one for my desktop. Again, I'll get into the specs here in an upcoming video. And we're at that cusp of transitioning from traditional disc to the non-rotating disc media. I mean, it's coming. Oh, I gotta get a new mount. This thing's not wanting to hold up. And I have both. I have both a traditional hard drive and an SSD. But once you get into having an SSD, you will typically love it. My machine boots in 15 seconds. Once the BIOS screen flips off, it's about 15 to 18 seconds, and it is in Windows and ready to go. For somebody that's a bit of a speed junkie when it comes to your PC, once you have that, and using my laptop at work is just utterly exhausting. Having to wait for things to load, and like I said, once you go SSD, you will never want to go back. But right now, the space costs a lot more money. I mean, I think we've been seeing around 40 to 50 cents is about as cheap as you can get per gig on an SSD. Around 240, 256 gigabytes is running anywhere from $100 to $125, give or take. But it is continually coming down, and as long as that keeps coming down and coming down, and the storage gets larger and larger, that it will eventually take over traditional media. And like I said, it's a great thing. It's things are getting faster, things are getting bigger, and in the same boat, getting smaller. That's what you want to see in this market. And right now is a bit of a renaissance for PC gaming. I'd say 5 or 6 years ago, games were a little scarce on PC. You didn't have as many titles as you do today. And you will see, for anybody that was in the PC gaming community back then, it was, everybody was saying the death of the PC gamer, with the PS3 and the Xbox 360, really changed the dynamics of big, gaming. But we've seen an uptick. Graphic cards have been getting more powerful, more power efficient, which ultimately translates into something into the consoles. But a lot of people are building PCs again, and like I said, it's a great thing for the market. It's a great thing if you've been a PC gamer and maybe you've kind of gotten out of it and you want to back in it. There is definitely a good time to get in. You can build a relatively decent machine for $500 or $600, give or take what peripherals that you might have. Just talking about the case, and for just a few $100s more, you can have quite an awesome system that will, if you build it, you could leave it alone for the next 2 or 3 years and probably still play games reasonably well. And that's what you want. That's what you want in the market. I upgraded most of my major components every 2 years. That's kind of the cycle that I'm on, roughly anyway. My last upgrade, I had one of the last series of the 775 quad cores, a Q9550. Great processor for what it was. I managed to get a pretty decent deal on it when I bought it, and I had that for almost 4 years, and I basically donated it to a friend who couldn't really afford another upgrade to his machine, and he's still running it, and he'll probably run at least another 2 or 3 more years until I decide to upgrade my next one. He'll probably end up with with my current processor. And like I said, he plays pretty much everything I do and plays it just fine. As far as my previous graphics card, he had an AMD, I had an NVIDIA. Like I said, we'll talk about that more in another video. But we were pretty much neck and neck as far as graphics were concerned, and we really the only thing I really had up on him was the processor, and obviously, like I said, I upgraded to the newest thing last year, and now I have recently upgraded my graphics card. Again, we'll talk about that in another video coming here soon. But there for a while, him and I were neck and neck, and it's been kind of a competition. Now my brother's gotten into it. He recently just built himself an AMD system. He had I don't remember the exact processor, but he's got a 6-core AMD. He just picked up an R9 280. I can't remember if he's got just a regular or a 280X, but it's an R9 280. And I haven't got to see the machine up close. I hope to do a video of that also pretty soon, and maybe even have a little head-to-head competition, because it's just brothers and friendly competition. My water's frozen. It has been so freaking cold the past couple of weeks, and it's just, they're talking about 60-ish degrees next week. I might actually pull the motorcycle out, at least take it around the block and get it warmed up and start checking out things, so I can get it ready for riding season. And I will do a video of that. But like I said, overall it's been a busy week. A lot of things in the news. I obviously didn't get to cover everything, but like I said, I will continue these videos. I'm going to do this vlog, like I said, every Saturday, I think, is what the schedule is going to be. I am going to have some other videos coming soon. And I'm going to continue to develop this channel, and, some people's going to want to know, am I doing this for fun? Am I doing this for money? I'm doing this for fun. This is a social experiment. I am not trying to become rich and famous, though I'll take rich and fame if it comes, but I'm not in it for the money right now. I'm not monetizing my videos. This is just for fun. Me and some friends are going to get together and do some different things with gaming, with cars, with computers, and hopefully you get to enjoy these videos with us. And I'm looking forward to seeing how things go, and hopefully you'll subscribe and like our videos. But